There's absolutely no reason why I need to be shooting this video at the very top of Yankee Stadium, but I've been looking to these seats since the first game of the series, and I thought, hey, I think it'd be fun to just climb all the way up there and do one of my post-game videos there. Now, I didn't have the opportunity to do so on Friday or Saturday because we talked about how cold it was. I didn't want to get any of my equipment wet. I just didn't want to freeze, period. But with today being the final game of the series, with it being quote-unquote warmer, it's not exactly warm, but it's significantly warmer compared to where it was a couple days ago, with the sun actually being out, with the skies actually being blue. I thought it'd be fun to, just come up here. I got some time to kill as well. My train to Philadelphia isn't until 9 o'clock, so I thought, what the hell, let me climb up here, let me just shoot it. You see, the sun is coming out just in time for me to do the video here, and it's quickly fading away just as fast. I never had my opportunity to do my 10 favorite New York rap albums either. I don't know if I was doing 10 or 5. I'm just going to run through some off the top of my head. 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang, Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest, Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim. I'm forgetting what the name of the full album is, but Black Star's full-length album. 1999 by Joey Badass. What are some other ones? I had the full list. I forgot my notepad with me. I respect Ready to Die by Biggie, but I'm not a super, that's not an album I really go back to all that often. Not any full albums necessarily, but there's a bunch of songs by A$AP Mob that really just defined key parts of my middle school experience. What else? Do I have my list here? Hold on. What was on my list? I wrote it down. Oh, of course, Illmatic. That was my number one New York rap album too. I have a very vivid memory of 2014 listening to Illmatic for the first time, not truly comprehending how good it was, but over time, as you listen to a lot more projects, you kind of understand that what Nas was cooking with was a true one of one. One of my favorite facts about that album as well is Michael Jackson gave Nas clearance to use Human Nature on It Ain't Hard to Tell, but the one condition was that he didn't cuss at all. So go re-listen to that song. You realize that Nas never cusses. It's just a phenomenal ending to a phenomenal album. The Infamous, I put that on here as well. Moment of Truth by Gangstar. Just so much. As much as I love the Bay, there's just so much good rap to come out of New York. And I feel like I learned a lot about this city by virtue of just listening to a lot of New York-based rap when I was a kid and even to this day. But that's a long tangent that I didn't need to go down. Let's talk about some baseball. Let's talk about some actual baseball. And we have some very entertaining baseball to talk about as the Giants beat the New York Yankees 5-4. They win their first series on the road against New York since interleague play began, their first series being in 2000. They take 2 or 3 from the Yankees, and the star of today's game, of course, is Jung Hulie, who hit not just 1 but 2 home runs off Carlos Rodon. He drove in 4 runs. It was his first multi-homer game of the season, and I'm forgetting the exact quote off the top of my head. I have it somewhere right here, but when Lee was talking about his performance, there wasn't a lot of talking that he himself needed to do. Through interpreter Justin Hahn, he said, "The results are talking on behalf of me," which is kind of a play on it speaks for itself, but it almost feels like a little more Shakespearean to say it in that way. But this has been a continuation of what Jung Hulie has done to start the year. I think he's now reached base in 13 of 14 games that he's played so far. His OPS, at the time I'm recording this, is leading the National League at 1,130. It might change because the New York Mets are playing right now, and Pete Alonso is off to a great start. But this was the player that the Giants had in mind when they signed Lee to the 6-year, $113 million contract, not this past offseason, but 2 offseasons ago. And of course, in 2024, never really had the opportunity to live up to that billing. He played 37 games, was kind of so-so. In those 37 games, runs into the wall in center field, ends up being out for the entirety of the season. It kind of just ends up being not a lost season necessarily, but it leaves that longing for more. And it's kind of what could Lee, it's that question of what could Lee be in his sophomore year? And we talked a lot about some of the underlying stuff that he was doing really well, the contact rate compared to Luis Arias and Steven Kwan. We've talked about that a lot, how he hits the ball harder, doesn't strike out. But now we are seeing kind of the full package of what Lee can do when he's really clicking. And one of the things that I pointed out previously, and one of the things that Bob Melvin pointed out today, is that, again, Lee is still learning a lot of the pitchers in this league. Carlos Rodon is one of those pitchers that Lee had not seen prior to today, and ends up in that first at-bat getting a 3-2 slider that hangs over the middle of the plate, sends it over the right field bleachers, just a true no-doubter. It would have been a homer in 29 of 30 ballparks. I'm going to give you one guess as to which ballpark it would not have been a homer in. And then in his, I think it would have been his third at-bat against Rodon at that point, runners on first and second. Christian Koss got his first major league base hit on kind of a swinging bunt that got under the glove of Anthony Volpe. Willie Adames draws a walk after Elliot Ramos strikes out. That sets the table for Lee, who just hits this back-breaking home run that barely clears the right field fence. It was kind of a New York Stadium special. It wasn't the hardest hit home run in the world. I don't think it was qualified as hard hit. I want to say it was 94.5 miles an hour, and a ball needs to be hit 95 miles an hour to qualify as hard hit. But this place has been rocking a lot over the course of this series, even with the weather. I complained yesterday about them constantly playing the music in between every single pitch, but that second swing by Lee was a true crowd silencer. And just objectively speaking, it's been incredibly fun watching him come into his own. And the National League has a lot of very talented outfielders, from Juan Soto to Kyle Tucker to Corbin Carroll to Jackson Chourio. There's a very Mookie Betts technically isn't an outfielder right now, but you get the point. There's a lot of very talented outfielders in the National League. And so that's going to make potentially an all-star bid very difficult for Jung Hulie. But again, like I mentioned, he's leading the National League in OPS right now. He's reached base in just about every game except one. He's doing everything right that you could possibly ask for offensively. And for the Giants, it's been completely invaluable. Along with Lee, Logan Webb tossed 5 innings today, and it was kind of a grind for him. He allowed 3 earned runs, all of which came in the first and second inning, kind of settled down in the third, fourth, and fifth, though he did have to work out of a bit of traffic. I think he ended up needing a little under 100 pitches, ended up walking 4 batters, which I believe that's the 5th time. It's either the 5th or 6th time in his career that he's walked at least 4 batters in a single game. But from there, the bullpen did a phenomenal job. Hayden Birdsong pitched 2 innings of relief in the 6th and the 7th. Tyler Rogers allowed the solo homer to Jazz Chisholm on what I called a Yankee Stadium special. It was one of those short porch ones that, if we're playing at Oracle Park, that is not a homer. And then Ryan Walker has to inherit the toughest situation of any of the Giants relievers, where he has to go Austin Wells, Ben Rice, and Aaron Judge in the bottom of the 9th inning, with the Giants clinging to a 5-4 lead. And if memory serves correct, he gets Wells to ground out, Rice to fly out, or it might be the inverse. And then he freezes Aaron Judge on just this. I cannot emphasize how perfectly placed this backdoor sinker was. It's at the knees, it's away. It's one of those pitches that you really can't do anything with. Just a perfectly placed sinker to end the game, to end the series. And the Giants are in the middle. Well, not in the middle, but they're beginning a 17-game gauntlet against some really good teams over these next couple weeks. They're now going to go to Philadelphia. So for the Giants to win this series right here, right now, to start this gauntlet, it is a good sign for them going forward. And speaking generally, it is a good sign going forward that Jung Hulie is doing the things on offense that he's doing.